let's get something straight from the beginning. You are not too much. You are not too emotional. You are not too sensitive. And you are not asking for anything outrageous when you ask to be seen, to be valued, loved, and understood. But sometimes the way a person responds to your needs, or maybe doesn't, makes you doubt yourself. This episode isn't about telling you to leave or to break up. It's not about rushing into ultimatums. It's about clarity, about finally seeing the difference between asking too much and simply asking the wrong person. Because sometimes you're not wrong, you're just tired of trying to bloom in soil that was never made to hold you. There's a moment in many women's lives when they start shrinking. Not because they want to, but because they think they have to. She'll say things like, I don't want to nag. Oh, I know he's busy. Maybe I'm just being dramatic. Okay, so this is the beginning of emotional self-abandonment. Psychologically, when your emotional needs are repeatedly dismissed or minimized, the brain begins to internalize that as a form of rejection. The nervous system interrupts emotional neglect like social pain, and yes, it activates the same brain pathways as physical pain. That's why it hurts so much when someone doesn't hold space for you. That's why you start walking on eggshells. Not because you're unstable, but because your brain is trying to protect you. But the truth is, when someone consistently makes you feel like your needs are inconvenient, that's not love. That's emotional incompatibility. Okay, let's go deeper. Why does this dynamic happen in the first place? Okay, so number one is attachment styles. People with avoidant attachment tend to pull away when intimacy gets too real. If you're anxiously attached, you may chase closeness, interpret distance as danger, and feel unworthy when your needs aren't met. It creates a constant loop. Number two is unspoken beliefs. Many women grow up being taught, directly or subtly, that their job is to maintain the peace, even at the cost of truth. That being easy to love means being low maintenance, so they don't ask for what they need until it spills out as a resentment. And number three is unhealed men. Some men genuinely don't have the tools. Like, they weren't taught how to listen without defensiveness. It's just how they were made. They weren't taught how to hold space, how to validate without fixing. That's not an excuse, but it is a factor for sure. And in relationships, what is not addressed gets repeated. So let's pause and reflect. Are you becoming smaller in your relationship just to keep the peace? Here are some subtle signs. You rehearse conversations before bringing up your needs. You feel guilty after expressing something emotional. You downplay what hurts you. Or you start believing you're too much. Or maybe you envy other relationships where emotional connection feels effortless. These are your signs that your nervous system is adapting to survive emotional consistency. But you're not meant to survive love, right? You're meant to feel safe in it. Let's paint a picture. Because sometimes we forget what real love can actually feel like. Real connection is when you feel safe to express joy and fear. Your tears aren't an inconvenience, they are a signal for deeper closeness. Disagreements don't turn into shutdowns or punishments. And you are allowed to be soft and you are still respected. According to neuroscience, the human brain thrives in a relationship that foster co-regulation. When both nervous systems communicate safety, calm, and mutual presence. Love isn't supposed to be emotional dysregulation. It's supposed to be where you go to regulate. This isn't about walking away in anger. It's about walking toward honesty. Here's what you can do. Number one is to start with self check ins. Ask yourself, am I asking for love or am I asking for the bare minimum? What do I actually need to feel emotionally safe? It is really important to ask yourself without blaming yourself or the other person. Number two is communicate calmly and clearly. Instead of, you never listen to me, say, I feel unheard and that makes me feel disconnected. Shift from blame to vulnerability. Number three is observe his capacity, not his potential. People do this all the time, irrespective male or female here. Potential is who he could be. Capacity is who he chooses to be consistently. Don't be delusional about potential and capacity. Know the difference. Number four is make peace with what is. If after all your efforts there's still no emotional reciprocity, that's information. That doesn't make you dramatic, it makes you awake. Number five is to remember that you're not too much. We're just trying to grow in a space that may not be nurturing. You don't have to leave today or tomorrow or maybe forever. You don't have to fix everything by morning either. But promise to yourself that you will stop shrinking, you will stop apologizing for needing love, that you will stop asking for the bare minimum and calling it compromise. You deserve softness without tension, support without silence, love without confusion. Because you're not asking for too much. You're just finally ready to ask the right way. And maybe with time from the right person. And that changes everything for you. I truly hope that this helped you. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.